The District of Columbia, on the Potomac River between Maryland and Virginia, was set aside as the nation's capital so that the federal government would not be located in any single state. Pierre Charles L'Enfant was commissioned by George Washington to plan the city of Washington, and you can clearly see L'Enfant's layout of a street grid intersected by broad avenues. The most important of these is Pennsylvania Avenue, connecting two iconic buildings, the White House and the impressive domed Capitol building. Alongside and maintaining L'Enfant's vision of an open and spacious city stretches the wide National Mall with its museums and monuments. National symbols such as the Capitol and the White House are accessible to visitors, along with dozens of other tourist attractions, which include world-class museums and important monuments. Many of the most important things to see and do are in the northwestern quadrant along the National Mall and are best seen on foot. Summer can be unpleasantly hot and humid, so the best times to visit Washington are spring and autumn. If you have a plan to trip the nation's capital, we show you some of the amazing attractions and top places to visit in Washington, D.C. Before the starting video, subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. Number 1. Capitol Hill. Recognized around the world as a symbol of the United States, the Capitol is the seat of the House of Representatives and the Senate. The huge dome, based on the Dome of St. Peter's in Rome, stands out above all other Washington buildings. Like Washington itself, the building has grown over the years since the central portion was built between 1793 and 1812. The last addition, in 1958-62, enlarged the main facade where presidents take the oath. On the other side, a marble terrace offers beautiful views over the mall and the city. Capitol Hill is also home to several beautiful parks and gardens, including the United States Botanic Garden and the Stanton Park. It is also a popular destination for runners and bikers, thanks to its many trails and paths. Number 2. The White House. The White House is the official residence of the President of the United States, the home of every president except George Washington. It was originally built by James Hoban in 1792, and after being burned down by British forces in 1814, was rebuilt in 1818. Although tours of the interior that include the East, Blue, Green, and Red rooms, the ballroom, and the state dining room must be reserved well in advance through your congressional office or embassy, every tourist to Washington will want to see this iconic building, at least from the outside. The free White House Visitor Center, a short distance away, has excellent interactive exhibits, which show details about the White House and the presidential families. It includes furniture of past presidents, a model of the residence, historical changes, and videos with insights from presidents about their time living there. Number 3. Jefferson Memorial and Tidal Basin. The design for the domed white memorial to Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president, is based on the Roman Pantheon. Its low dome supported by 54 Ionic columns. Inside, appearing in a dramatic silhouette through the columns, is a 19-foot statue of a standing Jefferson, and around are engraved excerpts of the Declaration of Independence and other writings. The monument stands alone at the far end of the tidal pool, which reflects the monument in its surface, and all around the edge of the water are cherry trees, a gift from Japan. These are one of Washington's greatest attractions when they bloom each spring, surrounding the basin with a cloud of pink flowers and celebrated with the Cherry Blossom Festival. Number 4. John F. Kennedy Center. Opened in 1971 and named in memory of President John F. Kennedy. The National Cultural Center overlooks the Potomac River in a state-of-the-art building designed by architect Edward Durell Stone. It is home to the National Symphony Orchestra, which hosts some of the world's greatest guest artists each year, and the Washington National Opera, one of the nation's leading opera companies. Its 3 main stages and several smaller stages present over 2,200 performing arts shows and events each year, about 400 of which are free. These represent all types of music and theater, both classical and contemporary. Number 5. The Washington Monument. The 555-foot white shaft of the Washington Monument is a familiar icon of the National Mall and a beautiful sight, especially when mirrored in the long reflecting pool at its foot. Construction of the obelisk to honor the nation's first president did not proceed smoothly. The plan was approved by Congress in 1783, but ground wasn't broken until 1848. When the tower reached 156 feet in height in 1854, political wrangling and lack of funds stopped the project for several years, and the Civil War caused further interruption so that the tower was not capped until 1885, when it was finally completed by the Army Corps of Engineers. Number 6. National Mall and Veterans Memorials. The spacious swath of lawns and pools that forms a wide greenbelt from the Capitol building to the Lincoln Memorial is also the site of many of Washington's landmark buildings and monuments. Most prominent at its center point is the Washington Monument, and war memorials include those to veterans of World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. Number 7. Library of Congress. An underground passage with historical exhibits leads from the Capitol building to one of Washington's little-known places to visit, the Library of Congress. It's the world's largest library, modeled on the Opera House in Paris. You can visit portions on your own, but free tours disclose even more of its beautiful interior. Number 8. Washington National Cathedral. The English-style, neo-Gothic National Cathedral, one of the world's largest cathedrals, took 83 years to build, from 1907 to 1990. It follows the Gothic building style and techniques, with flying buttresses and solid masonry construction of Indiana limestone. Throughout the cathedral are artistic details to see, from its stained glass windows to the hand-embroidered kneelers that commemorate war heroes and historic events. Special tours, reserved in advance, explore hidden parts of the building and its art. Families should ask for the brochure. Explore the cathedral with children for a scavenger hunt to find wrought iron animals, tiny carvings, and gargoyles. Be sure to look for the gargoyle of Darth Vader high up on the Northwest Tower. Number 9. National Air and Space Museum. The National Air and Space Museum is one of the world's most popular museums, with a collection of history-making air and spacecraft that includes the original 1903 Wright brothers flyer and Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis, the first plane to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. More recent flight history is represented here by the Apollo 11 command module, part of the first manned lunar landing mission. Permanent and changing exhibitions illustrate the science, history, and technology of aviation and spaceflight, covering topics like the use of air power in both world wars, the space race, flight pioneers, and up-to-the-minute flight in space technology. Number 10. National Zoological Park. The National Zoo is another part of the Smithsonian, where nearly 2,000 different animals, birds, and reptiles live in habitats replicating as closely as possible their natural environments. Of the several hundred species represented here, about a quarter are endangered. This is one of the world's best zoos, not only for the quality of the visitor experience, but for its leadership in areas of animal care and sustainability. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share.